Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear viewers, wherever you happen to be around the world. This is Stuart B. Fields, and I happen to be here with Grace Liang, and she is the author of Finding Grace. We'll talk about her in just a sec. This is a Increase Your Awareness, Expand Your Potential series. Welcome back for those that have been to an earlier video. As you know, we will have contact information on the bottom in links that you can click on to find out more information about either Grace or myself. Now, Grace and I met back a little over a year ago in a program called Train the Trainer with Jack Canfield Live. Jack Canfield being the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, but also the program we were going through is based on the success principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. Uh, Awesome program, great opportunity to connect with Grace, and absolutely love her, and I'm sure that you will too as we're moving forward through this interview. Grace, could you introduce yourself and your background just slightly?
Sure. So, hi everybody. My name is Grace Liang. I am a author, which is my book Finding Grace, launched back in January and got #1 new release on Amazon. I want to say during this special time of inner history, this book probably for most people will be a great gift to your family, friends, especially people suffering with going through this COVID-19, because we do know some people losing their families and coping and grief is a very difficult journey. So this book actually will show you what exactly this journey will be and how you can turn your life around. And also, you will see the hope and light. You can still live your dream after that. And you even go to a higher level self-awareness. So turn everything around. And I'm also a speaker. I'm also a certified coach, as Stuart already mentioned. And what I do is I teach women how to look 10 years younger and how to feel 10 times happier in just 1 year. So that's my coaching program. And that's what I do.
Yeah, no, and Grace, is you and I went through the program. It was just so intense, and we shared so much of each other. And I had the opportunity to read your book on the day that you were launching it, and absolutely will recommend it. It gave me a much truer insight to your journey,
Thank you.
which it's incredible, and without revealing too much, to realize that looking younger is something that you're talking about, but I think that people would be really challenged to guess that you are. I'm guessing you're a grandmother.
Yes, I am.
You know,
I have two
and,
grandchildren.
and how could people even believe that? Looking at you and the energy that you exude here. So. I also understand that you would like to share something with our viewers about your reframing the situation that we're in, and something that we learned with the E plus R equals O concept in Jack's
Yes.
training.
Okay.
Yeah,
So give me a second. Let me share.
perfect.
I'm sharing now.
You are
Yes.
sharing now. Great. Thank you.
Good. Good. So today, actually, I want to walk you through with a very interesting way of thinking. A lot of times when we have a difficulty, when we feel stressed, especially right now because this COVID-19, most people feel stressed, anxiety, or fear, even anger. So many emotions going on there, and that's just the surface. When we see the surface, we need to go through, peel off the layer to see actually there's always a belief there cause us stressful. So today we're going to use this tool to see how we do that. So for example, this topic will be, apparently I'm not going next.
You can probably use your cursor and just advance.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this statement is, I'm angry with COVID-19
Hmm.
because it ruins my life. So Stu, have you ever heard a similar statement in your life lately?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of anger out there, and
Yeah, yeah,
there's so much that we can focus on, and a lot of negative news, and people are upset, and it is causing global disruption in many different areas. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, totally. Purely that's the reality. That's a fact,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how do we question this? Because this
Mm,
sounds so true, correct?
mhm.
So when you see this, you say, this is a fact. It's true. What do you want me to do with it? I suppose be angry because I got laid off, because, you know, my life is totally kind of like upside down. So here is the rule, the way we're going to do it. We are going to question ourselves. First, we're going to ask is, the first question will be, is it true?
Mhm.
So still, if you are stating this, what's your answer? Is it true you're angry with COVID-19?
Well, I know where you're going with this, Grace, and I don't want to shortcut it, but clearly, the event is true. The event that COVID-19 exists is
Mhm.
true. And
Yeah,
angry is a choice, but you'll get into that shortly, I'm sure.
yeah. So you're not going to jump in my trap. Okay. So the second question you want to ask yourself will be, can you absolutely know that's true? So, for
Mhm,
example, you say COVID-19 ruins my life. Can
mhm.
you actually know that's true? For
Wow.
example, if now you are looking it back, if right now
Mhm,
you're in the future, 3 years from now
mhm,
on, you look back, can you absolutely know that's true? This COVID-19 ruins your life. We don't
mhm.
know.
No, probably not.
Yeah, right? We don't
Yeah,
know. So now we already know this is something need a question.
right.
And then uh, the number three question is very important. How do you react when you believe in these thoughts or you call reality?
Mhm.
So how about, do you tell me, if you think of people angry with COVID-19, normally, how do they react?
No, anger is not a healthy emotion, so people would lash out against it. They would be upset. They would complain. A lot of that is out there, and unfortunately, that doesn't help the situation very much.
No, no. So does this thoughts bring stress or peace into people's life?
Probably more stress, clearly.
Or stress, clearly stress, right?
Hmm.
Yes. So when you think about this, what image do you see in the past? What it remind you?
Um, Other times that I've been angry,
Yeah,
other situations, it might bring up childish issues. There's a lot that surfaces, so it's really y- it needs to be released. But you sometimes need to acknowledge it and go through it as well.
yeah. When I do this with a client, actually, she told me, she said, I remember 2008.
Hmm. Hmm.
She came to me, actually, this is a whole real case here. She came to me because she got laid off. And she's very angry. She said, it remind me again, 2008, I got laid off. So that's whole thing combined together. And then I asked her, so what image do you see in the future? She said, oh, I will see my life is totally ruined. I have no job, no house, no family, nothing. So that's how she feels. And then I asked her, I said, when you believe this, what's your physical body reaction? She's like, I have this big chunk here in my chest. I feel very hard to breathe. It's true. When you feel the stress, that's how you
Hmm.
feel in your body.
Hmm.
And then I said, so did you notice any like obsessions or addictions start to happen? Like, do you reach to alcohol or food more often?
Hmm.
Do you do a lot of online shopping? Because everybody have different addiction. A lot of time when you're under stress, you went to this pilot mode. You start to do a lot of things you don't even know, but try to get yourself not that stressed. So, Stu, when you are stressed, what's your addiction started? Do you notice anything?
Well, there are triggers that occur. There's certain actions by others cause a trigger, but I realize it's in myself,
Mm,
and I usually react immediately to that, and not in a positive way. But I
mm.
realize that it is a trigger that causes that, and it's usually something that I interpret within me.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it's very interesting. I figured out my addiction
Mhm.
is thinking. When
Mm,
I'm stressed, I keep thinking because I want to figure out what to do. And that
yes. Yeah.
caused me couldn't sleep, caused me more stress.
We're
So yeah.
yeah, we're similar that way, Grace, because there was one point in my life where, I would take one or two aspirins at night to slow down my thinking just so
Oh
that I
my.
could get to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not the approach either.
No, no, no. So the next question you want to ask yourself is how do you treat your life when you believe in this? As we said, if you can't sleep, your life is just not so good.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're not living, right?
It becomes a spiral, a negative spiral as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then how do you treat people in your life when you're that stressed, Stu?
Mm.
You remember?
You don't treat them well, and that comes back at you because
Yep.
then they respond or react in the same way, and then it just becomes arguments and causes family disruption, divorce, separation. All kinds of things happen as a result of that negative spiral.
Very good. So that is go back to the law of attraction
Hmm.
at the beginning because you believe this is bad. And guess what? The result is bad because
Hmm.
you attract everything to you to approve yourself that is bad.
Right.
But during the whole process, actually, if we change it, the result will not be like that. Probably be so much better. So here's another question I want to think about. So what would you feel? Let me see this. What would you feel without this thought?
Yeah. Who would you be without the thought?
Yeah,
I'd still be myself. I mean, inside of us, who are we? But that's a greater question for those philosophical conversations. Who are we?
yeah,
And who would you be without the thought? And I'm thinking of Viktor Frankl and having survived Auschwitz, and the 27 people that died for the one that survived. you know, uh, 27 out of 28 people perished in Auschwitz. And yet Viktor Frankl he wrote Man's Search for Meaning. And what sustained him is thinking and finding positives in whatever the situation was, whether it's a floating fish head in some water, which is his protein or substance. He had to find beauty in that.
mm,
It's yeah. Who would you be? Who would I be without that thought? We'd still be who we are.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be
yeah,
more free and
yeah,
happy,
yeah.
less stress, right? So since you mentioned who we are, so this is where I learned so far. Who we are is we are free
Mm-hmm,
without attachment to anything, anybody, and a belief. We're just those free spirits. We're
mm-hmm,
powerful.
mm-hmm,
If we
mm-hmm,
let us out, we're powerful. The most thing we do for our whole human life is we choose the belief, tie ourselves up, and we can't use our power. That's what we've
mm-hmm.
been doing for our whole life. So we need to just kind of like, break through that. And we're good. And we are love. And we
Absolutely.
all have value. We all have purpose. That's who we are.
Yeah.
And any thoughts, if make you disconnect with this, then that's not who you are. So
Mm.
just that's the whole process about it is find a way, go back to who you are.
So I'm curious here. This process, Grace, is this based on
The work from
the
Byron Katie's.
oh, so this is okay, Byron Katie's work. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
4 question. And now we're going to do a turnaround.
Yeah, how would you turn this around?
Okay, let's do turnaround. Totally 3 ways we can do it. For
Mm-hmm.
example, first one to yourself. You can say, I am angry with myself because I ruined my life.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true or truer?
To a degree, if you are thinking these thoughts, then maybe you can ruin your life. So,
Yeah, because you
so,
believe in these thoughts, you only
yeah,
sleep 2 or 3 hours a night.
yeah,
You are ruin your life,
right.
right?
If you're believing it to be true, it's yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another way to do it, and usually when you do after 2 days, some people say, "I don't think so. I'm not angry with myself. I'm not going to take responsibility about COVID-19."
Mm-hmm.
It's true, but can you find a 3 very simple, small things to prove yes, this is true? I mean, it's pretty easy. I can find like, oh, angry with myself because I am watching the news like 4 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that ruined my life, right? I'm
That,
angry with myself because I believed everybody will die. I will lose all my loved ones, and I
mm-hmm.
will be
Mm-hmm.
lonely.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I ruin my life because I let all this negativity control me. So you can find many things to support this. What I do is you get more clarity and insights. And just like we say, E plus R equals to O, COVID-19 is an event. What are
Mm-hmm.
we going to do? Right? The results can be positive, negative. If you think COVID-19 is bad and automatically a result is bad, it can be because people, if you don't do anything, it is bad. But how can you get a positive outcome from a negative event like COVID-19? Is you have to intentionally choose your response. And this is one way to do it, to take back control of your life, because this is only you can do at this moment about your life. And another turnaround is to the other person or other thing. You could say, COVID-19 is angry with me because I ruined its life. I'm like, what? It doesn't make any sense. I remember my clients like, what do you mean? Why that thing is angry with me? So I like, we don't know. As I have you ever seen COVID-19, that little picture, how they look? Actually, it's a beautiful thing. Very, very colorful, right?
Uh-huh.
It's very
Uh-huh.
interesting. So I said, you don't know. And maybe COVID-19 just a messenger from God. Maybe God is angry with us because they say, you need to pause
Yeah.
because we are taking granted. You think about before we can just run out to people to hug, to hang out, to do things together, to do whatever we want to. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, what happened? We stay at home. We can't even touch each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know. And another turnaround is to the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not angry with COVID-19 because it doesn't ruin my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
can you find the 3 reasons to support this, Stu?
You know, what occurred to me as you mentioned a coaching client that talked about 2008 and losing her job. And one thing that happened to me in 2008 is I also lost my job.
Mm,
And rather than, it was the fourth time I had been laid off. My sister, younger sister, always admires me because no matter the situation that I get into, she said, Stu's like a cat. He turns around and always lands on his feet. So whatever he gets into, it comes out better in the other end. And
good.
so one thing that happened to me is when I lost my job, I bought a bottle of wine and went home, not to drink it and be in misery, but to go home and celebrate with my wife a new beginning. And
Nice.
and that was really the launch of my independent business. And from that, it's been just a growth period ever since. And right now my life is beautiful. So I did turn it around, the 2008 situation. And even now, working from home, is you and I can both, share,
Hmm.
this is somewhat normal for us because we're
Hmm.
familiar with these situations where we
Yeah.
are working from home.
Hmm.
And therefore there's not a lot of significant change. It's just a new way of doing business.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's your example is a perfect example of how people turn disaster or threats into a opportunity.
Right.
So it's everything is just mindset shift.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
about how you see it. If you see like, oh, actually I'm not angry with this because it doesn't ruin my life because it may help. It may push me to like, oh, okay, I've been putting off with my big dream. Now I suddenly have so much extra time in my hand. What I'm going to do? I'm going to pursue my dream. You
Hmm.
don't even know. It's all depending on how you use it. So I would suggest all the people there just, turn off the news. I haven't watched news for years.
Good for
I
you.
don't really read much online either. My family in China just called me this morning, say, "Hey, we heard news. We see news. It's horrible in America. Are you all right?" I'm like, just quit watching news. I'm fine.
Yeah, clearly. All
Yeah,
right, Grace, thank you. This also reminds me of a saying by Wayne Dyer: "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." And
totally.
it really is taking a different perspective. Thank you so
Mm.
much for sharing this with our viewers
Thank you
today.
so much for having me.
Yeah. So if you don't mind turning off the share, we can see your beautiful office and background and person that you are. Love to have you back. Okay. Uh,
Yay!
yay. So thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Do you have any, of course, your book, but tips for our viewers, any references, anything that is a final takeaway that you can offer in this situation that is in front of all of us?
Yes. I would say still listen to or read to. I use Audible all the time because I can listen just when I'm doing whatever. Byron Katie's book.
Hmm.
The first one is The Word. The second one is called I Need Your Love. Is it true?
Mm,
So that's so good with many people. We are looking for approval from other people. They
hmm.
feel I need that person or that thing or that situation to do something with me. And that's the major problem. We're not taking 100% responsibility. Another book, actually, I really think is a good time at this moment. It's called You Can Heal Your Life. Uh, I don't remember her name, but if you
Louise Hay.
yes, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Actually, that was, I think, one of the first books that she published back in the 80s, but it's been
Yeah.
around a while now.
I think the first one she did actually call You Can Heal Your Body,
Mm,
but this is You Can Heal Your Life. It's in a broader uh, range. So those two books I think will be really healing at this moment for everybody.
beautiful. Of course, we'll recommend The Success Principles as well by Jack Canfield.
Don't forget my book.
And Finding Grace indeed. Grace, it's been a pleasure working with you, connecting with you, and this is one way that we can connect with each other, is using the virtual environment and using it to our advantage. It's one of those things that, given the situation, we've made the best of what we can do, and I look
Totally.
forward to
Yes.
connecting again. So, thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you.